What up, y'all? This is Decode Dating, and this is we all have a preference. We are not equal. So, a preference is basically what you prefer to have than what other people like. Everybody has a preference. Everybody's different, but we do have some similarities when it comes to the same sex. So, what I like, I would say most other guys would like, generally speaking. So, what other women would like, other women will have a similarity to the same thing. This is all focused solely on the dating market. As an individual person, you might have different things that you might like. I like to work out. Some dudes might not like to work out like how I work out. So everybody's different in that sense. But when it comes to dating, this is part of biology, psychology, typically rooted in generalities. Okay. So most people in the dating market get upset about what other people like. And I would just mainly target one gender. It's mainly women who get upset of what guys like. They always say, oh, what a guy should like, oh, he shouldn't want that, and he should like me and what I have. And that's not always the case. Typically speaking, majority of men want to date from 18 to 24 or 25, around there. That's statistically proven from different data researches, that men inherently like younger women because it's for fertility. If we want to bring a baby into the world, the younger, the easier it is. Don't get me wrong, there are exceptions to the rule where a woman can be 30, 35, 40 and have children, but that's not always the case because it comes with high risk pregnancy. And you could ask your doctor, to any woman who doesn't believe this, right? But this is what mainly guys want in the dating market. They want a younger woman, also because it's less trauma that she's been through. The older you get, the more experience in life you are, the more things you go through, hardships, even some good times. But most of the time, men want women who are inexperienced when it comes to multiple different men. Now, you got to understand that what a man wants is not the same as what a woman wants. So typically, women want older men because the older a man is, typically he has more life experience. He went through, the grind mode, and now he's in the more way of providing for any woman that he's with. Typically, women want guys who are 30 plus, because typically in a man's 30s, well, sometimes late 30s, they are more financially established. Um, we don't live in a perfect world, a lot of people say, I want my dream person, dream man, or dream woman, and that's not always the case. I tell people, most of the time you will end up settling because um, it's impossible to date multiple people because you don't have the time, right? If you have a regular life, 9 to 5, and your hobbies and whatever, you're not gonna really have the time to connect with people daily because you gotta focus on yourself and then one person and the next person, right? So that's the difference between men and women when it comes to preference. So for instance, if I like a woman who is 5'5", some men say I want a woman shorter, some men want a woman taller. But if we're speaking on generalities, typically men want a woman that's shorter than them. The average height for women is about 5'3" to 5'5". The average height for a man is about 5'8" to 5'9". That's just how it is. I can't change it. I beat the genetic lottery. I am 6'3". I'm around 235 pounds, 230. But yeah, I wouldn't have problems in the dating market when it comes to height preference for most women because most women want taller guys. Now, that's just generally speaking. Now, for women also want a man who's financially stable. I'm not saying the top 1% of men making millions of dollars a month or a year. Typically a man who's able to provide for himself and for others. So that's probably above average, because the average for most Americans, because most people do go 50-50, is about 32, I believe. It's a quick Google search if you guys want to look. 32 or 35,000 to 50K a year. That's an average what people make. Now, when you're talking about people who want 100,000, 6 figures a year, now you're talking about the top 20 to top 15% of people. Now, it comes into preference because men want the opposite of them. So a man is masculine. He wants his counterpart to be feminine. We don't want to date ourselves. We don't want no woman coming in and trying to dictate terms and, set basically like a dictatorship. We don't want to be told what to do. We actually want to be the guy to protect, provide, and give provision. We want to lead, and most women want a leader. For any woman who says, "Oh, I want to be the leader in a relationship," cool, that's her. But we're speaking on generalities. Most women want a man to lead. Period. Point blank. They want a man to look up on, not down on, because that's part of their nature. They're hypergamous. They don't want somebody on the same level. They want somebody above, because they don't want to date themselves. Most of the time, women are on the same levels with each other, and men are on the same levels on each other. We don't want to date ourselves. We want somebody different, right? So, men in the dating market want a feminine woman, right? That comes with her character traits. That comes with how she carries herself. She's not promiscuous. Promiscuous meaning she's very revealing. She's seeking male validation. And men don't like that. Don't get me wrong. Men will smash a woman who's promiscuous. Yeah, of course. But we don't want that long term. Now, for any guy who says they want that long term, that's cool for them, but they don't value themselves as a man. So their preference would be, I don't value myself, so I want somebody who's above me. On the other hand, for women typically want a masculine man. They want a man who's assertive, dominant, direct, knows how to lead, knows how to call shots. She wants that because now it makes her easier to rest in her femininity. She's the person who's more docile, more weak compared to the man. So she wants somebody who's that rock, right? So that's one thing that can tell both parties apart. And a lot of women get mad at men for saying, I don't want a woman with a body count that's very high or has kids from a previous relationship. And they get upset about that. Like I said before, men don't want women who have been, promiscuous or been around the block and have too much experience. Because now, if you're getting in a relationship with a masculine man or a hyper masculine man, he's not going to want to have to retrain your habits. We don't want to do that. And we don't want somebody who's damaged goods, that they would say. Same thing for women. Women don't want a man who's not coherent, doesn't know how to do anything for himself, doesn't know how to hustle, doesn't know how to grind, who's not ambitious. Now, do you see how it's not similar? It's asymmetrical. And a lot of women will definitely get upset about how it should be, and they seek equality and this whole egalitarian mindset, which is not the case. They're trying to push that agenda, especially in today's generation, men being more soft and open and feminine, but I'm not rocking with that. I am a 90s baby, but I did see how the dating market in the generation has changed, especially today. So this is the difference we have, and we seek that in the opposite sex. Men don't want to date men unless you're a homosexual, that's do your thing. And women don't want to date women unless they're lesbians. Cool, but I'm only solely talking on a heterosexual relationship and two people who want totally two different things, right? So for me and my preference, I do want a woman who's shorter than me because I am 6'3". So my preference back then, I always liked short women. I don't know if it was mainly because I'm tall myself and I want to have somebody who's, shorter than me. Some tall men, don't get me wrong, they want a woman who's their height. Maybe that's their preference because they want kids who's coming out tall. Me, I don't really care too much, but I do want my woman shorter than me. I would say no higher than 5'10". If you're touching the 6 feet mark, I feel like you can dunk on me, and I don't want that. But that's my preference. Some women get mad at men for wanting a woman who's slimmer or athletic built. Typically, I would say, generally speaking, men don't want big, obese women. Don't get me wrong, there's some BBWs out there, that's fine, and some men will smash. But most of the time, generally speaking, in the dating market, on average, men want women who are like, I think 130 to 150, depending on your BMI and height range. If you start touching the 170s and 180s, it's no good. Um, Now you're just showing that you're unhealthy and you don't care about yourself. Um, Women, on the other hand, because men could make up for them being fat. I'm not saying men should be fat. Work on your health, of course, but women don't really care about a man's body type if his other accolades are in place. So, say if he's making some substantial amount of money per year, she would substitute that because now he could provide for her, right? Now for me, looks wise, some people say I have a type, but I don't think I have a type per se when it comes to skin tone. I do, I would say, dated most light-skinned women. I've never dated a snow bunny, aka white women, but I don't give any discrimination. I will definitely date any woman who approaches the conversation appropriately, I would say. But for me, shout out to my black women who are feminine and respectful, not these masculine booger wolves out here. I do like a feminine woman, no matter what color of skin tone you are. But yeah, my preference, I'm an equal opportunist. I don't really care about your skin tone. You could be light skinned, you could be Asian, you could be Indian, you could be black, you could be white. It does not matter to me as long as you're feminine on your approach. Um, People in the dating market have their preference. Some women only date white, some women only date men, depending on how you were raised and how you're brought up. Some men only date white women, but just let me clarify this. Black women, unfortunately, are the least desirable on any dating app in the dating market, and they are the least married. Quick Google search will show you the statistics that prove this to be true. Unfortunately, this is sad because there are stereotypes, and stereotypes go off pattern recognition, and just that's just how the dating market is. Don't shoot the messenger. But back to what I was saying. So I don't have a preference depending on race. It doesn't matter to me. Now, like I said before, my body type, I will agree with most men. I do not like a heavy set woman. Some men will say I love heavy set women, but give them $5 million, a foreign car, and a mansion, they're gonna be smashing models that same day, because they see that they have more value now in the dating market, so they can get a certain caliber of woman, and the same thing goes for women. But unfortunately, when women start making a substantial amount of money, their dating pool shrinks because they want a man who makes 50% or I think 26% or the same. So it sucks for women because the older you get and the more money you make, the dating pool shrinks because there's not a lot of men out there that you would like as far as what's suitable for you and your preference. Now, don't get me wrong, exceptions to the rule. There are women who makes millions of dollars a year and will date down social economically, but that's not majority of women, and I like to stick on the majority because majority makes the rule. So my body type, I would definitely say I like athletic fit women or slim. Have I dated thick women in the past? Yes. But if I was supposed to say long term, I would like athletic fit because I'm athletic myself, or a slim woman. If you get on the thicker side, just make sure you're in shape where it's appropriate for me. I don't want no big sloppy woman, and that's just my preference. Some men could deal with the slop. I'm not. Um, but the main thing I look for now in women, and I wouldn't say generally speaking, me, I'm different because I have dated women, I've been in multiple relationships, so I know what my preference is and what I look for long term out of women now. But what I look for mainly in women, especially face features, I say a physical appearance would definitely be a plus. A smile, I'm a sucker for a pretty smile. That makes my heart melt. As weird as that sounds, or as simplest as that sounds, a woman with a nice smile makes me smile. Um, I do like natural hair. I would say most men in the dating market do like a woman that to be natural, as far as less makeup, real hair, real lashes, and real nails. All the other enhancements to women say, I'm a 10, but then you're doing all this other extra shit. How you a 10? You wouldn't need that stuff. But for me, I definitely like natural, pretty smile, keep up with the hygiene, and the most important thing will go down to is your personality. Are you respectful? Are you pleasant to be around? Are you feminine? How do you treat your family, your brother if you have? Do you respect a male authority as far as what your father instilled in you? And that's what I look for now, because I don't want to get with women like I did in the past. The ghetto, the loud, the rude, and that's a stereotype because I've dated multiple black women and some Latinos. So it's sad, but that's how it is. This reality. Yeah, black fatigue is a thing. But I want change. I want women to do better. I don't want the stereotypes to continue. I want women to understand that you can get a man and you could keep a man. It's all how you present yourself. Same thing for men. You could get a woman, you could keep a woman. It's just how you present yourself. Um, the main thing to look for is don't be afraid of your preference. Don't try to change your preference because somebody else said something. If that's your preference, cool, do you. Um, but the main thing is most preferences go off biology and psychology. This is just a human trait. This is how the world works. Um, and that's just how it is. But keep these in mind, that your preference does matter, but we all have different preferences and we are not equal.